Hello Minecraft world. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a tutorial on how to do exterior design. I know a lot of you have been having trouble with how to make your buildings look less like a square like this one here. So we're going to give you a little bit of tips and give you a little bit of extra things you can do to your build to spice it up a little bit. We have right here a 7x7, just a regular block, okay, square, blah blah blah, very lame. And just by adding a doorway, we give it a little bit of shape here. It gives like an inviting, a welcoming entrance. And then we can add windows. Choose spots for windows where you have room on all sides of the windows to put them. Like, don't make your windows go like all the way out to the edge here. Like, make sure they're encased in something, because most windows are encased in something. In some instances you'll have those corner windows, but for this example today we're not going to use those. Also, by framing your windows like we did up here, it gives a little bit more shape, kind of accents the window, and we added a little bit of greenery here to change the change the feel of the build. We're using two different blocks, one for the details and one for the base color. The base color in this case here would be spruce, and we use these oak stairs just to get started as our little details. And yeah. Okay, and then we move on to this one, and I see a lot of people building plots with just their building on it, and then they just leave, like, they'll have a decent building, like this would be a decent building, but then they would leave this all grass, and it's kind of plain. What are these resting on? What are these? What's this? Like, there's nothing inviting people to come inside. So we've created here a bit of a patio or entranceway. Kind of accents the, saying, hey, come inside. Notice we use the pattern on the floor using two different block types to create a little bit of contrast, to create shape in that manner. And we also added those two slabs that come up to rest the pillars on. Remember, if you have something floating, you don't necessarily have to support this, but you have something floating, support it, because that's the way it would be in real life. So like here, we've added these blocks to add a little bit more support to these kind of wimpy looking structures. Okay, and then we move on to this one, and here we have changed the base blocks to the new dark oak and the birch, just to add a little bit more shape to our build. Granted, it's not actually adding shape. As you can see, we're still working with the same rectangular structure, but it adds shape in the two-dimensional realm, I suppose. It's just by adding the contrast of the color. And yeah. And then we come over here. We add a couple vines to give it a little bit more character. Added a nice little patio set right here with a little awning overhanging. And put our roof on. Our roof, for these purposes, or for this tutorial's purpose, we just used a standard roof to do. We did stairs, and then block layer, and then a raised slab above. And we'll go inside and see what that looks like here. And this is what it looks like inside. Not too fancy, but it does the job. But we added the vines to give it a little bit more character, and you're not limited to just wood in this, but you are limited to the basic building blocks, because not every block, like for example wool or clay, has the slabs to go with it, or the upright, like the fence or the wall, or the stairs to go with it. So you are kind of limited in that area, and I've shown you a little bit over here of what you're kind of limited to. You have your standard wood like we did before. This would be for like more of a modern, you know, nether brick and quartz go really well together. We also used clay as a base back here, so if you wanted to add color or use wool or clay, it's a good idea to use that as your base color or as a small accent color. Like if we wanted to color in our floor, we could replace this pillar block here with like a red wool or red clay. And as you can see here, we have our cobblestone setup. Notice that I put the cracked brick here because and when you do your builds, you have to keep in mind that that the walking paths, you have to keep in mind a lot of things, but like for example, we wouldn't be walking over near these pillars, we'd be walking straight into the door. So this particular block here would be more worn than the other two. And again, we take the same thing in mind here. We have support on the outside, so these particular blocks on the outside won't be as worn, but these ones in the middle will be because of the lack of support and the fact that there's a door there. We used the regular cobblestone walls for supports on this one. You know, just basic doors. Here we got our sandstone. Wood goes really well with sandstone, like if you need to use a wood fence or even trapdoor. You know, if you wanted to put a regular door on this, you could put a regular door on it. Again, we used our how would you word that? I don't know. Where people walk, we put the more broken piece of the collection, and we have a little accent opposed to doing the cracked. We have an accent piece over here instead. Sometimes over the doors, you know, they don't really break apart, but if you're building something like ruins, they do break apart, and because of the lack of support. So we have an accent piece, and I wouldn't use the chiseled stone or chiseled sandstone unless you're doing that sort of accent piece or you know, design piece. So like maybe if you had like a, I don't know, if you're doing like hieroglyphs, you probably want to use that. But yeah. Okay, so that gives you a basic idea of the types of blocks that you have available as far as doing details on your exterior. But let's go back over to here, and one of the problems that I see people is they'll, like I said, they do the basic just square buildings, and you're not. Yeah, squares are easy to do, but you're not limited to just that one rectangle or that one square. You know, it's easy to add. Like over here, we're gonna add another rectangle on the back of that square, and it gives it a lot more shape just by doing that. And we've added our little doorways here. So let's continue on here, and we've used oak as our base and spruce as our detail work. Again, we're accenting the windows, and we made the second larger rectangle from our floor plan taller than our first one to kind of give us, you know, we're gonna be going into this area here, so it kind of, you know, just gives it a nice little welcoming entranceway. But since we were able to do that, we made this one a 2-story. And so like if you're going back to your floor plan, and you need to be thinking about this whenever you're doing your builds. If you're building just a regular house, you know, we could have, you know, say a kitchen in here, dining room in here, living room here. And then once you get to the point where we have 2 floors, well, this is where our bedrooms will go. You know, the 2 bedrooms or 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom can go upstairs. And you know, you got to think about that kind of stuff whenever you're putting your buildings up and your houses up. Okay, we'll move on. And again, we added our details like before, having the contrast and the pattern in the floor. gives it a little bit of like an entranceway. Did a little creative addition here, making a basement area. You know, it may not actually have a basement, but you know what? This looks cool. So then we added our vines again to give it a little bit more character. Put a tree in the yard, you know, just a little basic tree. You just play with it. Things you would see in real life, just throw it in. So, yeah, and going back, whenever placing your windows in, you want to try in some circumstances you don't want to do this, but you want to try to keep them on the same level. Like if you look here, this is on this block level here. It goes all the way across, and we're still on the same level. We still have the 1-2 high. But like I said, in some circumstances you don't want that. Like a lot of modern buildings, you'll use that the difference in the two, like a juxtaposition, for a bit of variance in your build. You don't always need symmetry. Symmetry is nice, like to have something on the right side look just as good as it does on the left side. Symmetry is nice in some situations, but not in all situations, especially with modern builds. You kind of want to have, you know, erotic shapes. I say erotic, but just crazy shapes coming out, to, you know, kind of give your build even that much more character. But okay, we'll move along and do our last little bit here for exterior like building based design. So we started off with just a block, you know, a hollow block, and we added these stairs along the bottom for support. Again, you need to have realistic support for your buildings, and changed the color of from the base from the spruce to the oak to match the support beam, or the support feet. But then to give it even more shape than just changing the color, we're going to sink this. I know I've done a lot to this one. I didn't really do the steps. We're going to sink the base. Here's the base here. We're going to sink that in a block to have these supports kind of pop out and then make them on the angle block here. Okay, and it looks like we got a little bit of glowstone issue. I didn't have much time looking at this or whatever, but it's okay. But again, so here we are with our sunken in base boards, and this leaves us room to I'm gonna go ahead and fill these in real quick just because it looks silly having water in your building. But using the baseboards, how we did it, gives us room to add the details in the stairs. Stairs are an excellent way to add building detail and to add more shape to your build. We have, like, just make a design. It doesn't have to be anything at all. Just, you know, like here I have, you know, kind of looks like maybe the bottom of an X, or the, you know, the sides here. But yeah, just make a design, and, you know, change the base colors within different sections of your shape in your design. Make it pop, make certain sections of it seem, you know, less noticeable, make other ones more dominant. And that's a big, yeah. And again, use block variants like I have here: spruce, oak, dark oak. You know, we got some glass. We got redstone block here for a little accent color. But yeah, and then on the outside we put cobblestone. We put a cobblestone looking bridge. Again, going back to the other doorway and entranceway, we put the cracked where the walking path would be. But like I said, just add some sort of design. It doesn't have to be, you know, a face. It doesn't have to be, you know, a circle, a square, a star, you know. Unless, of course, you're what you're building. If you're building something that exists already and it has that star in it, then you might want to try to do your star. But yep, and this is a kind of a short video, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of pointers on how to, you know, kind of detail the exterior of your buildings. And we'll give a toodaloo and a bye bye.